Philadelphia. But tonight it's doubly so because my daughter from Italy and my 2 grandchildren are here with me. And thank you all very much.
Thank God to meet you all and standing front and always up there watching you all. And all those diddles are down there. Good night and God bless everybody.
Now, all kidding aside, those were lean and hungry days when I was struggling for a job. I had just gotten married. I was a lot younger than I looked. I've been a full-grown man since I was about 13 years old. I've been show business since I was 3 years old, and a lot of people think I'm about 120 years old.
Button up your overcoat, do-do-do-do when the wind is free. And take good care of yourself, you belong to me. Boop-boop-you-do. Eat an apple every day. Ooh, go to bed by 3. And take good care of yourself, you belong to me. Ooh.
It was kind of an emotional moment there for a minute. And, but he just wanted to sit down and talk to me. In other words, he didn't come over and join the rest of the conversation until that evening, but right then we kind of got off in the car and we got to know each other again.
Begin with, didn't want after they had them, and after they had them, they used them as punching bags and what have you. And I think I had the responsibility of helping take care of.
So many lasting memories, so many times of joy, so many nights of laughter, so many years to enjoy. This is the story of the Two Tars tent of the Sons of the Desert. The tent and the organization are composed of people from every walk of life. They are found throughout the world, and they have one thing in common: a love of the work of Laurel and Hardy, 2 great motion picture comedians. Let's begin our story in 1926. Al Roach, a film producer, searches for a new and different comedy team. By accident, he teams 2 of his non-heralded studio comedians. One a renowned actor named Oliver Babe Hardy, the other a small rubber-faced comic named Stan Laurel. Somehow they click as no other Hal Roach comedians have ever done before. Their director for this and many films is Leo McCarey, who is the developer of the team. Putting Pants on Philip becomes the first film where Laurel and Hardy are actually teamed. Stan Laurel is born Arthur Stanley Jefferson in 1890 in Ulverston, England. His father, Arthur Jefferson Sr., spends 30 years in English music halls as a comedian and actor. His son inherits his talents. In 1912, Stan Jefferson moves to Hollywood. As a bit player, he discovers that Jefferson is too long for the theater marquees. He emerges as Stan Laurel and joins the Hal Roach studio. Oliver Hardy is born Oliver Norval Hardy in 1892 in Harlem, Georgia. His father, a lawyer, dies not long after his son's birth. From an early age, young Oliver Norval wants a stage career, and his tenor voice lands him a job with Coburn's Minstrels. From there, his career grows. In the late teens, Oliver Norval Hardy, nicknamed Babe, goes to Hollywood. Early in 1928, Laurel and Hardy make one of their funniest and most memorable silent short films, titled Two Tars. Laurel and Hardy are sailors on leave. They rent a car and pick up 2 girls for a drive in the country. One problem leads to another in a riotous traffic jam as motorists become more irate with each thing that Stan and Ollie do. 43 years later, this film is to become the namesake of the Two Tars tent of the Delaware Valley. By the end of 1928, only 2 years after their first film together, Laurel and Hardy are box office magic, known throughout the country and the world. The years 1931 through 1933 are the most rewarding for Laurel and Hardy in the short subject field. With their highly successful silence now a thing of the past, they emerge into sound two-reelers. New audiences flock to see these films, sometimes ignoring the main feature. As Hollywood changes in the early 30s, Laurel and Hardy are forced into full-length features. They make many successful ones during these years. In 1934, Laurel and Hardy make a film titled Sons of the Desert. This world-renowned film will form the theme for the organization, which is to honor the work of Laurel and Hardy.
The time of our lives, marching along, 2,000 strong, far from our sweethearts and wives, God bless them. Tramp, 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 the boys are marching, attesting to this melody. Da, 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 da. Sons of the desert are we.
Through the 1930s until 1945, Laurel and Hardy turn out many features, some more successful than others. Most, however, are well received by their steadily growing audience. One film is made, a final one in Europe, in 1951. When the career of Laurel and Hardy is finally over, they have turned out a fantastic 105 films together, including their silent shorts, their sound shorts, their features for the Hal Roach Studio, and those features made in the 1940s and in 1951 for other studios. It is this background that initiates the founding of the Sons of the Desert. Dr. John McCabe, an actor and author, meets Stan and Babe during their tour of the British Isles in 1954. During the mid-60s, Jack joins with well-known New York cartoonist Al Kilgore to form the Sons of the Desert in 1965. This organization is proof of that film.
I found that there were a lot of people who loved Laurel and Hardy who had no focus for that love. And I didn't want to found a fan club. So I said, Stan, what if I got a little group together, a group of buffs, and we would meet every so often, show the films and talk about the making of the films and so on. He said, great. He said, this won't be a fan club. I said, no. So that's how the Sons of the Desert was born. I wrote its constitution, and it has grown far beyond anything I ever dreamed of in terms of size and, if I might say so, quality.
This escutcheon, designed by Al Kilgore, becomes the symbol of the Sons of the Desert. Two minds without a single thought. The Constitution of the Sons reflects the purpose of the organization. It's all in fun, in recognition of the work of the greatest comedy team of all time, Laurel and Hardy. In 1971, Mike Radis, a student at Temple University, and his professor, Dr. Roger L. Gordon, joined to form the Delaware Valley Tent. Mike becomes the first Grand Sheik.
I could remember that very first meeting of the Two Tars Tent. It was in Upper Darby, Pennsylvania, at the home of our Grand Sheik, Mike Radis. And there were only 6 of us in attendance at that very first one. Mike wanted to call the tent the Two Tars Tent. He had been a student projectionist at Penn State University as an undergraduate, and he loved the film Two Tars. And so we became the Two Tars Tent.
That fall, and for the next 2 years, the tent meetings are held at the home of Roger Gordon in Huntington Valley. Meetings at this location continue until 1973. Dave Rieger begins the Two Tars Terrier, the tent newsletter.
You know, I'll never forget the first night we met at Rogers. It was in reference to an article in the paper that said, "Where is the Sons of the Desert?" And I saw this, and I said, son of a gun, I call this guy up. And I called up Roger on the phone, and he said, "Here's my address. Come out on Saturday night." We went out, and I thought there'd be 5 or 6 people there or something. The place was packed. There must have been 40 people in Roger's house, and they were hanging off the chandeliers. And Sharon was saying, "Where all these people come from?" And Roger has the screening room, and there must have been at least 35, 40 people trying to get into that screening room, and they were like packed in like sardines. But we were watching films, and everybody started laughing and roaring, and the whole house must have shook from the laughter. And that was the very first time, but after that we kept going, and we had a heck of a time.
The first banquet is held on June 16, 1973, at the Holiday Inn on City Line Avenue, which now is the Adams Mark Hotel. The first honored guest is founder of the Sons of the Desert, Jack McCabe.
I remember very well that very first banquet of the Philadelphia chapter of the Sons of the Desert. It was up on City Line Avenue at what is now the Adams Mark Hotel. And that first night, we couldn't have had more than maybe 30 or 40 people. And we were all very impressed because we had as our special guest Jack McCabe, who's, of course, a very noted author. And I don't think any of us thought that our tent would ever develop into anything larger than it was that first night.
In February of 1974, the tent moves to the Rifle Club in the Olney section of Philadelphia on the recommendation of a fun-loving member, Stanley Tiny Zimba. Roger Gordon becomes Grand Sheik. The Rifle Club is a perfect location for the Two Tars tent.
Our early meetings were held at the Philadelphia Rifle Club at 8th and Tabor. That club was originally a German club and was so named because they actually used it as a rifle range.
The first banquet at the Rifle Club in 1974 honors Bernie Herman, local broadcasting personality who is to return a number of times over the years. A tradition of Two Tars banquets begins. During the following December, 1974, the tent begins a second tradition, that of a visit of Santa Claus and a gala holiday party.
Now, you understand everything that is expected of you. Very good. Very bien.
Break it up. This is a hotel lobby. Isn't there some pool room where you boys can hang out?
Monsieur, I'm Galou, Governor General of this province. And I am Broussard, Chief of Police.
I'm Ronald Cornblow, the new manager.
Ah, the new manager!
What'd you say? I think it was a DC-6. As a matter of fact, I think it was an AC DC-6. It was the clearest flight I was ever on. It was 6 across, which is certainly better than 12 down, depending upon your crossway. And if you got a crossway, your skies will be cloudy all day. But you don't get that, huh? Didn't you ever sing that song, Home on the Range? The skies will be cloudy all day if you got a cross... No. Okay, I got to explain it.
Also in attendance that year is radio personality Ken Garland, as well as luminaries from the New York 10, including Dwayne Smith, who plays the bagpipes. In 1977, the 10 honors radio and motion picture star Lanny Ross. Lanny appears here in the 1930s film.
Eyes and see, it's their lovely emerald isle that makes the Irish smile. Oh, there's nothing like the smile of the Irish.
Rosina Lawrence, featured performer in some Laurel and Hardy films, is also in attendance. Rosina appears here in On the Wrong Trek, a two-reeler made at the Road Studios with Charlie Chase in 1934.
My hair's set in a wave, do things in a big way. I'll get a haircut and a shave.
I can't wait to eat my quota of that great big wedding cake.
Bicarbonate of soda always helps a tummy ache.
Now we'll invite a few of the tried and true just to pay a friendly call.
There might be some old friend that we might offend, so we'd best invite them all.
There won't be room for that in a four-room flat.
We can always hire a hall, so what do you say?
Huh? Let's make it a big day.
1978 brings the first International Sons of the Desert Convention at the O'Hare Inn in Chicago. Why Chicago? Because that's where Laurel and Hardy went in the original film Sons of the Desert. The convention and all subsequent ones are spoofs of that original film. Here is the first Grand Parade of Tents. Our tent is well represented. This convention brings together buffs from throughout the world. We see for the first time that there are others like ourselves everywhere. The convention is a success, and from that time on, it is held every even year in a different location with the local tent as host.
My most vivid recollection of the first international convention would have to be the camaraderie. There was hundreds of people there from all over the United States and from Europe, and the love and warmth that came through was very touching. Another memory I have would have to be the guests, meeting Darla and Rosina and Anita. Definitely a good memory. But the height of the convention, I have to say, would be at the main banquet when Lucille Hardy got up and told everybody in the room that with all the love and the warmth that was flowing that night, that her husband Babe would have to be noticing us from up above. And I don't think there was a dry eye in the house that night when she got done talking to us.
In 1979, one of the great co-stars with Laurel and Hardy is present at our 7th banquet. She is Anita Garvin. Anita immediately becomes a favorite of the Two Tars tent. Her charm and wit capture each member of the group. She is to be a never-forgotten memory. Also in attendance are Rosina Lawrence, Sons founder Jack McCabe, Al Kilgore, and Anita's husband, former band leader and musician Red Stanley. Later that year, Santa makes his annual visit to the tent in one of the all-time attendance-breaking Christmas parties. The younger members of the tent are not disappointed. Early in 1980, a number of tent members traveled to the New York Tent Banquet. Guest of honor is famous motion picture star Dick Van Dyke, who does a memorable imitation of Stan Laurel.
All right, Stanley, sit down. No chair there. What were you sitting on? Your hat.
Well, back in the early part of 1980, a bunch of us decided to get together and go up to the New York tent. I believe it was at the Lambs Club at the time, but I'm not certain. Anyway, we went up there because Dick Van Dyke was the guest of the day. And the New York tent rolled out the red carpet for us, and they gave us the best seat in the back of the room. And we had a heck of a good time meeting with Dick Van Dyke, and he did his impersonation of Stan Laurel. And many people don't know it, but Dick Van Dyke readily and often admits that most of his inspiration came from Stan Laurel himself. He did his Stan Laurel imitation, and he did a few other things. He talked to us, he was gracious, and it was an event I'll never forget.
In the fall of 1980, Joe Rooney is elected Grand Chief. The 1980 banquet stars Lois Laurel, daughter of Stan. It's another gala evening. One of the exciting times in our history is when many of us travel to California for the second Sons of the Desert Convention in Hollywood, right where most of the pictures were made. The euphoria of the convention subsides, and back home in Philadelphia, it's business as usual. Steve Randisi takes over as Grand Chic in the fall of 1981. For the 1981 banquet, two stars are reunited, Rosina Lawrence and Anita Garvin. This is, unfortunately, to be the final banquet at the Rifle Club, but it's also the most memorable.
Thanks. You know, I'm on the spot here. I wish I had the writers of Stanton and Kilgore and a few out there. I have no idea what I'm going to say. Only I do thank you for inviting me. And even though it was a rough trip on the train, I'm glad I made it. And I want to bring you greetings from several people of the way out west head. First of all, Lois Laurel. She sent her greetings. Bob Satterfield, Laurie Jones, and Lucille Price, Hardy Price, Ben, so many of the people. And they gave me instructions to tell this one and that one, Randy C. and everyone, but I can't remember who they told me to tell, so I'm just telling all of you. They love you. And as for me, I don't know what to say. Maybe I can kind of explain how I feel. It really is a thrill to be here. I remember 2 years ago, everyone was so wonderful to me. And this year, it's the same thing over again. It's like when you've been away on a vacation, I'm sure you've all been on vacations, had a wonderful time, and just hated to see the vacation over until you got home and you kind of flopped in your own easy chair. You said, oh, it's good to be home. That's how I feel. It's good to be home.
The showstopper of the evening is a recreation of the magic moment from the film Way Out West, with Rosina Lawrence, Mike Spack playing Ollie, and Joe Rooney recreate Stan.
mine. Just below is the cabin home of a little girl of mine. Her name is June, and very, very soon she'll belong to me. For I know she's waiting there for me 'neath that lone pine tree. In the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, on the trail of the lonesome pine, in the pale moonshine, our hearts entwine, where she carved her name and I carved mine. Oh, June, just like the mountains are blue, like the pine, I am lonesome for you. In the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, on the trail of the lonesome pine. In the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, on the trail of the lonesome pine. In the pale moonshine, our hearts entwine, where she carved her name and I carved mine. Oh, June, like the mountains I'm blue, like the pine, I am lonesome for you. Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, on the trail of the lonesome pine. We're going to go, we're going to go, we're going to go way down in the sea, where the hills are we're going to see the home in the sea. You can tell the world we're going to D-I-X. I know how to spell it. Then we're going, you know we're going, then we're going to a home in Dixieland. We're going to go way down in Dixie, where the hymns are going to see, we're going to see.
There will be no more evenings at the Rifle Club. We move in the fall of 1981 to a Church of Our Savior in Jenkintown. The 1982 summer banquet is held at the Inn of the Four Falls in Conshohocken. On hand are old friend and radio personality Bernie Herman, song and dance man and motion picture star Hal Leroy, and a very special lady, Margaret Hamilton, better known as the immortal Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz.
And I was telling the story at the time of how I was just a young, enterprising high school reporter and decided to go down and interview Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy at the Oriental Theater in Chicago. And so I went down there and I had just really begun dating. I was 16 years old at the time. My father wouldn't allow me to date till I was 16. Why he decided, 16 and 17 or 15 was 16. And I had finally got the courage to ask this girl to go down and see the movie and the stage show and go backstage with me to see Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy. And we went back there and sure enough, they were very gracious.
Margaret Hamilton is the first celebrity guest to receive the tent's highest honor, the Entertainer of the Year Award.
Margaret, it's a pleasure for us to bestow this little award on
description the other celebrities have gotten as well. It's the Two Tars Award, and it says, quite plainly, be it known that the Two Tars Tent in Philadelphia is pleased and proud to honor Margaret Hamilton for her distinguished service to the realm of entertainment and friendship, so typified by Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy. Margaret, we couldn't have given it to a nicer person than you. Thank you very much for your time.
In June 1983, the Two Tars Tent Banquet, held at Williamson's in Horsham, honors one of its native daughters, Penny Singleton, known to motion picture fans as Blondie.
Welcome the star of 28 Blondie movies, not 13, and the extraordinary woman who created them, Miss Penny Singleton.
Appreciate being here at your fair and being honored and having had the opportunity to meet the wonderful people connected with the Two Tars Tent and the Laurel and Hardy Association, and especially to be back in my hometown. It's been a complete fulfillment all the way around, coming here as one of Philadelphia's daughters, and having been a South Philadelphia girl, my hometown, my family being here, being able to share and spend time with my wonderful family, meeting new friends, and going around to the television station and the radio station and meeting superbly wonderful, kind people. The kind of people I remembered from my childhood. A lot of things have changed in this world, but Philadelphians, real Philadelphians, just don't ever seem to change. Thank you, God. It's really beautiful. And so it's been kind of a renewal. I've been touching base on a lot of things, and it's been kind of a renewal of a lot of activity. It's reminded me of a lot of things I had forgotten throughout the years, things that belong to my childhood. And I just can't tell you how much it has meant to me, really. Roger, Gordon, and his lovely wife, Joe, and Miss Sandy, and of course this wonderful young man, Stephen Randy, and all of the people connected with it. I don't want to leave anybody out.
I don't think I've ever had more fun in my experience with the Sons of the Desert than the night we honored Penny Singleton, who of course we all know and love as Blondie. And we honored not only Penny that night, but also a number of old friends. Rosina Lawrence was with us, and there were a lot of other rather important and distinguished people, a lot of lawyers, judges, politicians, and we honored Penny, Rosina Lawrence, and Penny's cousin, Billy Meehan, as well.
The Penny Singleton Banquet is the most successful evening to date. Over 150 people attend and welcome Blondie. The 1984 banquet, also held at Williamson's, will not be quickly forgotten, with guests like Rosina Lawrence and the comedy of ventriloquist Al Simic and nationally known comedian Will Jordan. How could we go wrong?
Well, again, I said, he's going to take your place. The kid's going to be the dummy? I wasn't going to use that word, but if you want to put it that way, right. Jason is going to become the puppet for right now. Yeah? Yeah. You're going to let the kid sit on your lap? No, he doesn't have to sit on my lap. Good, I don't really get enough. All right, would you just watch this, please? Yeah. Jason, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to put my hand behind your neck. It's very simple, okay? I'm going to squeeze your neck just like that. When I squeeze your neck, if you can open your mouth as wide as you possibly can, I'd appreciate it, okay? Let's try that. Face front so everybody can see. I'm going to squeeze your neck. Ready? Let's try it. The kid's good, yeah. We're not finished yet. That's what I was afraid of. All right, just watch. Let's see if you can get it open a little bit wider than that, okay? Let's try it. Let's see if you can get it open a little bit wider than that even, okay? It's like the Lincoln Tunnel. Would you at least watch this?
And this is Rosina Lawrence, How She Looked, in the film Way Out West, as seen by Bill Levers. You all see it?
That's all. Maybe this. But all of this, all that stuff is good. Now, in 1954, I did it on the show, and overnight, my salary quintupled. You know, they say a singer has a hit record. Well, I had a hit impression. They wrote me up in all the big magazines. Look, gave me a full page, TV Guide, Railroad Workers Weekly, 2 Nazi papers. I signed with the biggest theatrical agency in the world, the William Morris Agency. For those of you not in show business, I'll explain. William Morris Agency. Jewish people with Nazi principles.
During the summer of 1984, members of the Two Tars Tent, along with several hundred other sons from around the country, visit Stan Laurel's native England for the 4th International Convention. For many, it's an experience of a lifetime. At the 1984 Sons Convention in England, the Two Tars Tent is awarded the 1986 convention, which is to be held at the Sheraton Valley Forge Hotel. There is furious planning the year before in 1985 as the committee meet at the hotel. Roger Gordon is re-elected Grand Sheik, and a formal announcement of the convention is made to the press at a banquet dinner in 1985 at the Sheraton Valley Forge. Guest of honor is TV's perennial host, Pinky Lee.
You've seen them all, and there's not a 4-letter word or a longer word that they haven't used. You've got a clever comedian like Eddie Murphy, who was absolutely marvelous in pictures. And you ever see Buddy Hackett do a clean routine? He's funny. When he's clean, he's funny. You ever see him now? We have 6 seasons. We got, why mention it? You've got a lot of comedians who are getting $50, $75, $100,000 a week, maybe more, and they're filthy. I go out there, I make fun of myself. The only reason I wear this, I call it a bastard outfit, because I was identified with it while doing my children's show. And I retained it. And the only thing that I resent as a fact is that Pinky is a burly comic. I was only in burlesque for approximately 10 months. September to April, that's the season. And I was in 2 seasons. All the other times I was in moving pictures, theaters, nightclubs, operettas, and you name the business, I was in it.
1986 is the year. The tent members worked diligently on the many aspects of the National Convention. Over 350 persons attend on the dates of July 25th through 30th, 1986. A week never to be forgotten.
The big event happened in 1986 when the Two Tars hosted the Sons of the Desert Convention in Valley Forge, PA. And one of the things that stands out in my mind was something that was recreated from Babes In Toyland, was the Pee Wee contest. Now what happened was, I had hit it pretty good and it went on the roof. But little did I know, after everybody was cheering how good the shot was that I was disqualified.
The convention begins with a Two Tars banquet on Friday the 25th. One guest of honor is motion picture star and cartoon voice of Olive Oyl and Betty Boop, May Christelle.
Flying Deuces just did our act. So, all we can do for you is extend to all of you this laurel and a hearty welcome to Philadelphia.
We really want to welcome... My wife's back again. We really want to welcome every one of you here to Philadelphia and hope you have a hell of a good time. Philadelphia is the major historic city in Philadelphia. And did I say historic or hysteric? Either way. And the thing is that the Sons of the Desert and Laurel, Stan and Babe all said we should proceed and do everything in half-assed dignity, and we hope we have done so.
Sunday's highlights include a luau by the pool with an invasion by British redcoats. Perhaps the most elaborate presentation in the history of the tent, and indeed the entire Sons of the Desert, is the recreation of the 1934 operetta Babes in Toyland. Aided by the Syndicate organization with Joe Rooney and Mike Spack as Laurel and Hardy, we lip-sync an edited version of the film. It culminates with the Furco String Band as the Wooden Soldiers, and this is our final convention experience.
Have traveled through, you'll oft recall the best of all, the land your childhood knew. Your childhood knew. Toyland, Toyland, little girl and boyland. Once you dwell within it, you are ever happy then. Childhood, joyland, mystic merry toyland. Once you passed its borders, you can ne'er return
Thank you, darling.
coming along?
Everything is in fine shape.
Good. Yes.
Are you coming in?
Yes, just a moment. All right. Now run along, kid. Hello, everybody. How's everything? And how are my two boys?
Hello, Mr. Sandy.
Still wait until you see the wooden soldiers we made for you.
The finest piece of work we've ever turned out.
Splendid. Yeah, Ollie, go and bring one of them in.
Yes, sir. You better help me. They're heavy. We'll have them right out, Mr. Sandy.
Sure. You'll get the surprise of your life.
Don't try to lift it. All you have to do is press the button in the back, and it walks out by itself.
Isn't it wonderful? It does everything but talk. Wonderful, yes, but not what I ordered.
What do you mean?
I ordered 600 soldiers at 1 foot high.
What?
You took that order.
What was it? I thought you said 100 soldiers at 6 foot high.
You got the order all wrong. I couldn't give those things to my children to play with.
Put it back in the box and get out of here. You're through. Here's another mess. Your Prime Minister is right into a test.
Come, George. Let's waste no time. Have you the ring?
Your name is Silas Barnaby.
Indeed.
And your name is Little Bo Peep.
It is.
Do you take this woman for your lawfully wedded wife?
I do.
And do you take this man for your lawfully wedded husband?
I do.
I now pronounce you man and wife.
And now, to kiss the bride.
Just a moment. Haven't you forgotten something, Mr. Barnaby?
Oh, yes, the Lord. My wedding present.
Now, you may kiss the bride.
What is the meaning of this? Big bait catches big rat.
In the fall of 1986, Bob Sarah becomes the new Grand Sheik of the Tent. We move to a new location, Parktown Place in Philadelphia. We welcome special guest Sally Starr. The Two Tars tribute to our gal Sal is one of the most electrifying evenings ever, with over 200 people in attendance.
Sally, on behalf of the Two Tars Tent, we welcome you, and also we want to give you this award as Entertainer of the Year. It's presented to Sally Starr, and we tip our hats to you.
Thank you.
Lots of love.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, and as I used to say on television, I accept this with much love and gratitude, and as I used to sign off, thank you so much for being so nice to me, and may the good Lord be blessing you and your family. Remember, I love you lots. Love, luck, and lollipops. Bye for now.
remember the Sally Star evening very well. It was one of our most successful meetings. Sally was a big star in Philadelphia, and we wanted to have her in to usher in our new home here at Parktown Place. We had over 200 people at the meeting, which was quite a turnout for a Two Tars event. And many of the members had never met Sally. They had only known her from her Popeye theater days on television, as did I. And it was a great thrill meeting her, and she has become a very good friend of the tent and a very big supporter. And we really treasure her as a member and as a friend.
The Two Tars tent plans a surprise for guests Jerry Tucker and Spanky McFarlane, two former Our Gang comedy stars. Spanky is named Entertainer of the Year. It's a heartwarming reunion, as the two men have not seen each other since the making of their final film together more than 50 years earlier. For the Two Tars and for the general public, the Spanky and Jerry reunion is a media event.
There was some woman, some grandmother in Florida claimed to be me. Or claimed to have been Spanky before I was Spanky, and I thought, oh my God. I said, I'm a little heavy up here, but you know, she was like 62 long or something like that.
During the fall of 1987, another tradition begins for the Two Tars tent, sharing and helping those in need. The tent makes contributions when possible to many charitable causes. Two celebrities gladly accept donations. Merv Griffin on behalf of Variety Clubs International, which helps crippled children. And the legendary George Burns on behalf of the American Oncologic Hospital. In 1988, the group holds a special fundraiser for a friend in need, Sally Starr, who suffers a great loss when a fire destroys her home. WIP radio personality Bill Weber is on hand for a special charity auction. The banquet tradition continues, and in 1988, the Entertainer of the Year award is presented to two Laurel and Hardy co-stars from the same film, Babes in Toyland.
A poignant evening takes place in February of 1989 as the Two Tars sing to Anita Garvin. Steve Randisi speaks to her.
Well, tonight's your birthday here at the Two Tars tent.
Oh, God bless you all.
And we have a great big birthday cake for you. And there are about 2,000 people here in the room.
You're kidding.
Yeah, and they're all going to sing happy birthday to you, whether they want to or not.
Oh, yeah, that's wonderful.
Isn't that nice?
Oh, I'm thrilled and flattered and everything else.
Well, we wish you could be here in person. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Anita. Happy birthday to you.
That guy in the back was off-key.
Before the 1980s draw to a close, one more resident of Toyland will receive the Entertainer of the Year award. The villainous Silas Barnaby, well known as Henry Brandon. This takes place at the 1989 Two Tars banquet.
The nicest thing about having someone like Henry Brandon at a banquet is that you get to meet the person behind the person on the screen. And I think Henry enjoyed being with all the Two Tars members as much as we enjoyed having him. It's something that creates, I think, forever a memory that will last, just like his performance in the films do. And that's what makes it so nice, that you have a chance to get together with a performer and get to meet them in person. Henry will always be remembered for us at that particular banquet. It was the most enjoyable time I had meeting a close member of the Two Tars.
Once again, there's a passing of the baton, and the new leader of the tent is Paul Kress, the youngest man ever to assume the reins of Grand Chic. In 1990, the tent honors Jerry Tucker at the annual banquet.
There were almost 200 kids. You really couldn't assign a nickname, to all of them. Some kids strictly worked in the Our Gang.
The years are good to the Two Tars tent. We build a rich history of fun, fellowship, and films. Sometimes we ask ourselves, just who are we? Are we fans? Are we film buffs? Are we students of great comedy? Do we fit all these definitions? We most likely do. So many lasting memories. So many times of joy. So many nights of laughter. So many years to enjoy.
This is Chris, and my name is Paul.